In the modern game, where rugby has become faster, heavier, and more tactical than at any point in its history, true clarity is rare, and it is within that clarity that Antoine Dupont stands apart. Watching him in 2025 feels less like observing a player reacting to chaos and more like witnessing someone who understands the game several frames ahead of everyone else on the field. From the moment the ball leaves the ruck, there is an economy to his movement. No wasted steps, no rushed gestures, just a calm reading of space that unfolds almost invisibly until the damage is done. Dupont does not announce himself with exaggerated flair. Instead, he applies pressure quietly, repeatedly, forcing defenses to bend long before they realize they are breaking. His acceleration, often described as explosive, is better understood as precise, a sudden change of pace that arrives exactly when defenders are least prepared for it, turning balance into imbalance in a heartbeat. What makes this particularly striking is not the speed itself, but the decision that precedes it, the moment where he identifies the single option that will shift the entire shape of the defense. In those moments, the field seems to widen for him, passing lanes appearing where none should exist, support runners moving into spaces that feel preordained rather than improvised. As a scrum-half, Dupont operates at the nerve center of the game, yet his influence extends far beyond the traditional boundaries of the position. He is present at the breakdown with the urgency of a forward, arriving low and controlled, often stealing possession not through brute force, but through timing and angle, understanding exactly when the opposition's structure is most fragile. When the ball turns over, there is no celebration, no pause, only immediate transition, the quiet urgency of someone already thinking about the next phase while others are still reacting to the last. His passing, frequently described as effortless, carries a subtle authority. Each delivery is weighted not for spectacle, but for continuity, allowing his teammates to move forward without breaking stride, preserving momentum in a game where hesitation is punished. Even under intense pressure, with defensive lines advancing at full speed, Dupont's composure rarely wavers. He stands upright longer than expected, inviting pressure not out of recklessness, but confidence in his ability to absorb it and redirect the play elsewhere. This composure is perhaps his most defining quality, the sense that no moment is too large, no match too demanding to disrupt his internal rhythm. In international rugby, where margins are decided by seconds and centimeters, Dupont's control over tempo becomes a strategic weapon. He knows when to accelerate the game, when to slow it, when to allow chaos to exist, and when to restore order. This understanding does not come from instinct alone, but from a deep literacy of the sport, an awareness of patterns, tendencies, and fatigue that allows him to manipulate opposition systems without drawing attention to himself. Watching him operate across an 80-minute contest reveals a player who is constantly collecting information, adjusting his approach subtly, probing weaknesses with patience rather than force. There are stretches where he seems almost invisible, allowing others to carry the spotlight, only to reappear at decisive moments with actions that redefine the outcome. In 2025, this restraint is what elevates Dupont beyond highlight reels and into the realm of lasting influence. He does not chase moments, he shapes environments where moments become inevitable. Whether wearing the blue of France or the colors of Toulouse, his presence stabilizes those around him, granting teammates the confidence to commit fully to their roles, knowing that structure and support will arrive when needed. The crowd may rise for the line breaks and the tries, but the true measure of Dupont's impact lies in the quieter passages, the phases that flow seamlessly, the pressure that never quite releases, the sense that the game is being guided rather than forced. In these moments, rugby feels less chaotic and more deliberate, as though someone has briefly imposed order on a sport defined by collision and uncertainty. And it is here, in this calm orchestration of movement, space, and time, that Antoine Dupont's greatness in 2025 truly reveals itself. As matches stretch deeper into their later stages, when fatigue begins to blur decision-making and structure starts to fray, Antoine Dupont's influence often becomes even more pronounced, not through louder actions, but through quieter control. Where others show the strain of sustained intensity, he appears increasingly settled, as though the game slows as bodies tire. This is most evident in his defensive work, an area that has come to define his completeness as a player. Dupont does not defend recklessly or emotionally. Instead, he selects his moments with precision, understanding that one well-timed intervention can shift momentum more decisively than a series of routine tackles. He tracks back instinctively, closes space with efficiency, and meets contact with a low, compact strength that belies his size, often halting runners who appear to have clear momentum. These moments rarely make highlight reels, yet they form the backbone of his authority on the field, reinforcing the sense that no phase exists without his presence. His relationship with pressure is particularly revealing in knockout rugby, where the stakes are highest and the margins narrow further still. In these matches, Dupont's decision-making grows even more conservative and more ruthless at the same time, choosing security over spectacle when required, then striking decisively when opportunity presents itself. He understands that dominance does not always announce itself immediately. Sometimes it accumulates quietly, built phase by phase, until the opposition no longer realizes how control has slipped away. This patience reflects a maturity that extends beyond individual brilliance and into leadership, where influence is measured not by volume, but by trust. Teammates look to Dupont not for instruction, but for reassurance, drawing calm from his posture and rhythm, confident that clarity will emerge from uncertainty. His communication, often subtle and understated, reinforces this effect, gestures and glances replacing shouted commands, allowing the game to breathe while still remaining firmly guided. In open play, his support lines continue to demonstrate a rare understanding of anticipation, arriving not where the ball currently is, but where it will need to be moments later, ensuring continuity even when phases become fractured. This foresight allows attacks to remain fluid under pressure, transforming broken play into opportunity and turning defensive scramble into controlled progression. As the match clock winds down, Dupont's management of tempo becomes increasingly deliberate, recognizing when territory matters more than possession, when risk must be minimized, and when a single decisive action can close the contest. His kicking game, often understated in discussions of his skill set, reflects this balance, used not as an escape, but as a calculated repositioning of pressure, forcing opponents to reset and reconsider their options. These decisions rarely draw applause, yet they are fundamental to winning at the highest level, where emotional control often determines outcome more reliably than raw athleticism. In 2025, Dupont's evolution is most evident in this restraint, a willingness to trust structure and patience rather than chase personal imprint. It is this discipline that cements his role not just as a playmaker, but as a steward of the game itself, someone who understands that rugby is not won in moments of chaos, but in the management of them. Observing his performances across a season reveals patterns that only become clear in hindsight, how early choices influence later opportunities, how defensive pressure applied in the opening quarter yields attacking space in the final minutes. Dupont operates with this long view, shaping contests across time rather than chasing immediate reward. When the final whistle sounds, the scoreboard may capture the result, but it cannot fully reflect the accumulation of decisions that led there, the small adjustments and calm interventions that defined the match's trajectory.
In this sense, Antoine Dupont's greatness in 2025 is not confined to any single try, pass, or turnover, but exists in the sustained coherence he brings to an inherently chaotic sport. He does not dominate by overwhelming opponents, but by outlasting them mentally, maintaining clarity where others lose it. As rugby continues to evolve, becoming ever more physical and complex, players like Dupont offer a reminder that the essence of mastery lies not in control through force, but in understanding. And in watching him guide games to their conclusions with measured authority, it becomes clear that his legacy is being written not in highlights, but in balance, between speed and patience, ambition and restraint, instinct and intellect, a balance that in 2025 places Antoine Dupont firmly among the defining figures of the modern era.